Although trading has closed on March the 12th, 2024, we'll do our disclaimer, go over our calls, make some predictions. It's my trading plan for March 13th, Wednesday. Please remember, my calls can be wrong, trade at your own risk. Look for the pattern with the early high, which is this. Tomorrow should have the early low. We had a target, 5108.59. I said unless we gapped up, it should print. But gapping up was entirely possible. So we gapped up, the time is off the table, but not the price. We should see that price at some time. We also said there was an economic report coming out, and I just can't predict what happens when those reports come out. Here's what we said. Tomorrow has the early low. We have not violated the Caroline March 8th high, which is last Friday. That could all change tomorrow, but for right now, that's still in place. During the day, we had this huge rally. MEJT said it was false, but retraced the area between these yellow lines. It did. The afternoon, so we're going higher. We hit the minimum target immediately. There's no reason to stop at the minimum target, and we didn't. This high is a Fibonacci target of the prior consolidation. It's a logical place for the rally to end, particularly if we can count this as 5 waves up. Let's try. First of all, this is a powerful uptrend. No one has to risk money till we break it. We're just calling this an area where the trend could be over. It hasn't ended until this breaks. We had the idea that we completed 5 waves up with the high of with the price high of the 5th wave printing, but not the wave high. Go down to smaller and smaller time frames. The idea was, as we said over the weekend, that we had a 3-wave structure. We needed a 4th wave followed by a 5th wave, which we hoped would truncate to keep this high intact. Well, here's wave 3. There's a good Fibonacci relationship with wave 1. And now we have a good Fibonacci relationship with wave 5, which I admit is not perfect. So now we have to see if we can count this as a 5-wave structure. Well, all these fibs work. This is a 5-minute chart. All these fibs work. The only thing is, how do you count this as 5 waves? Let's go to a 1-minute chart. I mean, it's stretching it pretty thin, but that's a valid count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't break any rules. So we now have the pattern we were looking for over the weekend. We now have the 4th wave down, the 5th wave up. And of course, just because this count works doesn't mean it's the right count. It means it's a candidate for a top. And just because this is the Fibonacci target of this consolidation doesn't make it the only target. It just makes it a candidate for a top. But if it works, and if this high holds, we should start down right from the open and with a certain degree of authority. It's one of the places in which this rally could end, and if it doesn't end here, don't risk any money. I mean, if we start up, as far as I'm concerned, my money's still in my pocket. But if we open down here, I think that's a very logical place for this to end, and at least there's a reasonable stop. Wednesday's pattern has the early low regardless of where we open. Typically it's a bullish day with a high in the final hour. If it's weak, more weakness should follow with subsequent days. Friday's high should fall at some time, but our idea was it could represent the price high of a wave 5 up. We were looking for a wave 4 down in lesser degree, followed by a truncated wave 5 to complete the pattern. The fibs now are there, and if we start down right from the open, things are playing out according to plan. Now that hasn't happened yet. Of course, plans don't always work. We still need confirmation by breaking a long-standing rising trend line. That being said, I'm going to stay with the play until it fails. I'm just not risking any money until I have more evidence than I have now. But if we start down with conviction, we should have a big drop ahead of us. If we don't do that, the time argument for a Friday intermediate high has failed. The timing for a top is there, and the wave count for a top is there. Without starting down, as far as I'm concerned, there's no signal. It's just something I'll be looking for during tomorrow's trade. We're up here. I'm just going to look for something else. But if we start down and keep dropping and dropping, if that happens, it could be a long way down. Until we have confirmation, I'm keeping my wallet closed. But this is a reasonable candidate for a top. We'll have to see if it works or not, and that's today's call.